Ramon, we've said it many, many times. This presidency listens to our podcast and then copies what we say. And you may recall a few months ago, we did a video where we said the ANC should copy Chinese policies. And Cyril Ramaphosa came out today and said, yes, in South Africa, we should be more like the Chinese. Now, I know you've got an opinion on this.
Well, so does Cyril, because he says we need to stop bad-mouthing South Africa and be more like the Chinese, because the Chinese people don't bad-mouth their country. Cyril actually went further and said there are ingrained groups in South Africa whose sole mandate is to badmouth our wonderful country. We should rather be patriotic like the Chinese. I actually agree with Cyril in this regard, but not for the reasons he might think.
No, because you may recall the Chinese execute corrupt officials in the town square. We like Chinese policies, don't you, Ramon?
I'm a huge Chinese stan, as the youth say it. Let's just look at what China actually does and what we should emulate. Execute corrupt officials, take no crap from anyone. They have a growing economy, which is something we don't have either. They have actually an army, which we don't have. They build nuclear power stations like every second day of the year, which we don't have. I wish we could be more like the Chinese, but I think there is a single factor that makes us not Chinese, and that factor is the retardation.
Yeah, you know what else the Chinese are? Smart, like really smart. Because in the Chinese family, if you have like an IQ of lower than like 150, like you're the dunce in the family. And like, where did they all go wrong? So, you know, in South Africa, where the pass mark is like 30%, yeah, I'd love it if we could be like China.
That would be a great start. It's also interesting that he keeps talking about colonialism and apartheid. The Chinese, with the CCP are responsible for killing tens of millions of Chinese people only a few decades ago, on a scale that was 100 times worse than anything that happened in Africa under colonialism. The growth rate of the black community went up under apartheid. But here's the mindset difference. Retardation versus building mindset. Retardation mindset. Colonialism is still something we're dealing with and we have to overcome it, but we can't because X, Y, Z. China says, listen, we killed 100 million of our own people. We'll just bury it and let's just build stuff, right, forever. That's the difference in mindset.
You know what else is a difference in mindset? With the retards that are also known as the ANC. You see, one of the things that you may have noticed about the country as a whole is we have a 43% unemployment rate. It is very unlikely for kids to ever gain gainful employment. 68% youth unemployment. It's pretty. Now, let's actually stop and think about this for 1 second. Cyril says, and I quote, that the economy was in the past structured around colonial rule and apartheid rule. And it was never designed to include the economy. So you know what we should do? And he actually says it. He says, we need to transfer the economy. And then he draws reference to the usual buzzwords, you know, social transformation, whatever. Ramon, I'm no mathematician, but there's like 4.7 million white people in the country. And there's like 70 million people here with an unemployment rate of like, say 40%. Mate, even if we just say, let's just be really kind and say unemployment rate of 17 million people. If we drove every white into the ocean, every single one, and the businesses didn't collapse and the jobs were there and we transferred all of them to the black people, does this clown realize we would still have an unemployment problem? And that the only way to actually fix the unemployment problem is by growing the economy. And what he fails to say time and time again is that his policies, his direct policies, are responsible for a shrinking economy, an economy that's not growing.
So, I mean, the depths of retardation just never seem to end. The Chinese care about merit. They jail corrupt cadres or they shoot them in the head. They focus on meritocracy. They focus on building. They focus on the future. They focus on everything retardation does not focus on. The Chinese have something to be proud about. Retardation, not so much. We all need to tilt away from Eskom, but optimizing solar panels can be quite tricky. However, thanks to solar tilt, that problem is now in the past. Very much like Eskom. Solar Tilt's unique, patented system lets you tilt your solar panels towards the sun, which optimizes energy production throughout the entire day. And it can be installed on any roof type as well. Solar Tilt is made in South Africa for South African conditions, therefore making it almost impossible to steal thanks to its anti-theft bracket. Being proud patriots, Solar Tilt is made in South Africa for South Africans. So tilt away from the darkness and into the light with Solar Tilt. For more info, check out their website and Facebook page, which is linked below.